Thanks for watching Numbskull News. And today, let's talk about Alabama. The mighty Alabama, the bluest of the blue bloods of the SEC. They've been on top forever. Just a monster program. We all know. We all know this is true. But we could be entering, could be entering an age of decline for Alabama. Now, what do I mean by that? They'll still be successful. They'll still be a blue blood on way years from now, decades from now. They'll still be a blue blood. What has happened to the Dallas Cowboys, can that happen to Alabama? Now, let me explain this. Let me unpack it a little bit for you before y'all want to start leaving comments. Oh, you're a freaking idiot. Just hold on. The Dallas Cowboys, I'd say for a 30-year stretch, there was no more successful franchise than the Dallas Cowboys. So, in this 30-year stretch, they had 14 NFC Championship appearances. 14. 8 times they broke through to the Super Bowl, and they won 5 of them. 20 of those 30 years, 20 years in a row, they were in the playoffs for 20 years straight. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC ran through Dallas. For all of the 70s and a good portion of the 80s and a good portion of the 90s. This was one of the most dominant teams for about a 30-year stretch. Then there was a decline. For 30 years now, the next 30, Dallas hasn't sniffed an NFC Championship game, much less a Super Bowl. They've fallen flat year after year after year for 30 freaking years. Understand? So, Alabama, major, successful, legendary. Dallas Cowboys, insane history. If there was blue bloods in the NFL, they're one of the bluest of the blue bloods as well. But legendary history. Both of them, legendary head coaches. Alabama, Nick Saban, Bear Bryant. And with the Cowboys, you have the immortal Tom Landry and, of course, Jimmy Johnson. The thing is, look what happened with the Cowboys. After Jimmy Johnson, we've just had this parade of underwhelming head coaches. Even the greatness of Bill Parcells really didn't shine through. Yeah, he helped get them back to the playoffs, but there's some questionable crap he did with the roster and whatnot that I don't agree with, and I think has proved over time to be crap. But the Cowboys have had a coaching problem, finding the right coach and holding on to guys for a little too long. Guys who couldn't get the job done. Kind of like their current head coach. With Alabama, after Nick Saban, DeBoer is a good coach. But is he the right fit for Alabama? That question is still there and still very relevant. And some of the losses Alabama has suffered this year, you didn't see those kind of things with Nick Saban. Now, Mr. DeBoer is not Nick Saban. We all know that. We always knew there was going to be a step down from Saban. But DeBoer is a really good coach. So far, he hadn't been able to figure out his quarterback, how to get the most out of him. We've seen him have success getting the most out of guys people kind of gave up on. But for whatever reason, can't seem to do it this time. But maybe DeBoer will turn things around and, be great, win a national title. But the question's out there, is he the right guy and the right fit? And that question hasn't been answered. But it wasn't just the coaching that hampered the Dallas Cowboys over the last 30 years. There was a big change in the NFL. As a matter of fact, it's the biggest change, I think, of any sport, period. And that is the hard salary cap. You had free agency really kick in earlier than that, but with the salary cap, free agency became, more prominent. And that's really hurt the Cowboys. They had all the success before the salary cap, or just really in the early days of it. And, Jerry Jones embraced it. He pushed for it. He's one of the guys that helped get the hard salary cap through. A lot of innovations in the NFL that have happened because of Jerry Jones. Now, you may say, well, hold on, just because there's no salary cap doesn't mean the Cowboys would have been successful the last 30 years. The Dallas Cowboys are the richest franchise in the NFL, in the world, regardless of sport. All right, that's what Jerry Jones has built the Cowboys into. They were successful on the field before he got there. He made them successful off the field. He challenged things within the NFL. Before, everyone always shared media rights, but everyone always shared corporate sponsorships. There was. The revenue distribution was equal in the NFL. When Jerry Jones came in, he said, whoa, you may have a deal with Coke, I'm getting a deal with Pepsi. You may have a deal with Reebok, I'm getting a deal with Adidas. He was going to go out and get his own corporate sponsors. They said, no, we all share revenue, so you can't do that. He said, screw your face. I'm the one that owns this franchise. This is my company. We're going to go get our own revenues, and we're not going to share them. And he got enough of the other owners to agree. So now, even though they share media rights, they do share some corporate sponsors at the overall league level. But each individual franchise can go out and get their own corporate sponsors and keep all of that revenue for themselves. They don't share it with the league. They don't share it with the players. It is theirs. There's a reason Jerry Jones has like a $250 million yacht that's manned 24/7, 365 days a year, because he makes so much freaking money. If it wasn't for the hard cap, the Cowboys would just go out there and buy all the best free agents every year and stack them in, just like the Yankees used to do all the time. How many titles? It didn't always work now, but damn, it seemed like you always had to go through the Yankees to get to the World Series and win. And that's because they had the majority of the talent. They spent more money than they outspent everybody. That would be the Dallas Cowboys. Now, what does it have to do with the Alabama Crimson Tide? Well, things have changed. Big time changes in the landscape of how things work in college football, NIL, transfer portal. You see, Alabama just can't stockpile players like they used to. And it wasn't just them, several other big-time universities did the same thing. And back in the day, not too long ago, in fact, a player couldn't transfer until they graduated. They had to graduate early and transfer their senior year. Well, now you can transfer whenever you want for whatever reason you want. And you can get paid NIL money directly from the program, corporate sponsorships. Who gives a shit? Whatever. Whoever throwing money out, you can take. I fully support that. And the reason is that spreads the talent around the league. It's not evenly spread. It'll never be evenly spread. But it's more even than it has ever been. There's teams out there that can hit up that portal every bit as much as any of the Blue Bloods can. Because there's a lot of teams. Take SMU, for example. There's some donors at SMU that got deep-ass pockets. Same thing with Texas Tech. There just are. There's teams out there that aren't Blue Bloods that have a lot of money and have fans with a lot of money. A lot of donors with a lot of money. They're willing to spend that on 4 and 5 star guys. Or if a kid goes to a program, let's say goes to Georgia. I saw this recently with Justin Fields. I saw him talking about he should have never went to Alabama. He goes to Alabama, and they already got Braum there. Braum's a freshman, and the coach said, hey, there's going to be a quarterback competition, and according to Fields, there really kind of wasn't. And he should have never went there in the first place. He should have went somewhere where he could start. He goes to Ohio State, and that's that. But they don't always all go to Ohio State or to Michigan. They go to those programs that are not blue bloods a lot of times. So where Alabama and other teams of their ilk have always enjoyed having that advantage on the rest of the college football universe. And they still, by the way, they still have an advantage. They still have that name value. Playing in the SEC still means something, and it's going to mean something for the foreseeable future. Playing for Alabama really means something, and it's going to mean something for the foreseeable future. But kids now, they know that you go where the money is. And if Alabama's not going to pay you, someone else will. It's that simple. And if Alabama chooses to pay you, well, guess what? The other kid who's either right behind him or right beside him sees that you paid that kid. You're like, well, you going to pay me too? Well, no, we're paying him because he's our number one guy. Oh, okay. Portal. I'm going to go somewhere who's going to give me the same deal you just gave him. See how that works? Because you can't pay your number one starter, and your backup, and the backup to the backup, all the same money. Does it work like that, does it? No, it doesn't. And that's why they can't stockpile players. That's why Georgia's not going to be able to. Ohio State can't. None of these teams can stockpile players like they used to be able to. But this is going to have a real negative effect for Alabama. Look, there's a YouTuber out there that I'm a fan of. I like a lot. Total SEC guy, Alabama Crimson Tide forever guy. And that's the outlaw of college football. As a matter of fact, go check out his content. You'll enjoy it. All right, you'll get a kick out of it. Subscribe to his stuff. He does good stuff. But I totally agree with this guy when he says, hey, Alabama's going to win another title after Nick Saban. It's going to happen. I agree. It is going to happen. Is it going to happen in the next 3 years? Don't know. Because there's more and more parity all throughout college football. Now, not like there is in the Big 12, of course, but there is that level of parity throughout. Where a team like Arizona State can compete with a team like Texas and damn near beat them in the playoffs. When years before they would have no chance. They wouldn't have a chance of even being there. Now they have a chance. So yes, Alabama will win another title, but is it in the next 3 years? Or in the next 30? I don't know. All I know, if you look at the Cowboys, that's a 32-team league. And it used to be smaller than that. Now you're dealing with all the schools in the Power 4 that can conceivably get up to those ranks and win. That's what I'm talking about. Alabama does not have the control that they used to have. Even the SEC's grip on college football is starting to loosen a little bit. You're going to see more Big Ten teams win titles now. And you may even see a Big 12 team win. You may see an ACC team win again. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. So, if Alabama doesn't have it like that over everybody, then you're going to see a lot more years like you did this year. 9-3, losing a couple teams. You shouldn't. And maybe getting beat pretty badly. They're going to come floating down to earth. And look, we all knew this was going to happen post Nick Saban. It didn't matter who the coach was. Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach to ever walk the earth, period, end of story. And it was going to hurt when you lost him, and you lost him. He's still in the program, but he's not the head coach anymore. He's not recruiting like that. He's not on the field calling plays, holding people accountable like he could when he was the head coach. It's not where he's at. It's not what he's doing. He's just consulting now. So after Saban, we knew this program was going to take a big hit. Any program would. And it's the arrogance of some fans that think, oh, we'll just keep on winning. You realize you just had the greatest head coach of all time. Of all time. And you think losing him is no big deal? Okay. Of course it was going to happen. And yes, they will win another title without Saban. But they're not going to do the kind of things that Saban was able to do in a different era with no NIL. With a very, very restrictive transfer portal. When a kid signed his letter of intent to Alabama, he couldn't get out. Even if Nick Saban was treating him like dog shit, and the dad, mom ended up hating the guy, they wanted their kid the hell out of there. Tough shit. Tough shit. Graduate, then you can go. Not anymore. Oh, when's that next portal date? We're out. We're out. Ain't nothing you can do about it. That's the way it is now. That's the way it is now. Head coaches ain't got the power they once did. Now that power is with the player. It's a different world. It's a different world. And with less power and less control, there's going to be less titles to go around for one university. That's all I'm saying. So, I'm not saying Alabama's not going to be successful. I'm not saying they're not going to make shit tons of money and be highly popular and highly viewed and highly visible on all the major platforms. Of course, Alabama is. But are they going to have the kind of success that Nick Saban brought to town? No, because the rules are a lot stiffer now. It's harder to pull off. Even if Nick Saban was there, it'd be harder to pull off. So, look, I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. I love the Dallas Cowboys. I can't wait for them to win a title. And they eventually will win another title. And I'll be able to dance and show my ass to the world because my team is the best team once again. And you'll have your opportunity to do the same, Crimson Tide fans. Until then, I hope you enjoyed watching this crap. And I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.